Merv Griffin is not only a world-class entertainer, he is also among the most successful businessmen in the whole world with hotels, resorts, and TV programming. Thanks for joining us tonight, Merv, and welcome back to CBS.
This is what you look like in person.
This is how I look in person.
Why did we never meet?
Why
did you refuse to meet me?
Oh, come on. I told you that I saw you, was it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Why do you copy my hair?
I don't have any choice.
You saw me what?
I saw you on NBC in the afternoon when you first got, I think, your first chat show, first talk show.
Yeah,
I mean, you were a singer, but you were trying to get into talk, right?
Well, no, I had replaced Parr on a couple of nights.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then NBC gave me the show at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the same. I had the same opening day that Carson did, October the 1st, 1962, and in the same studio. I would do mine at 12 noon.
6B.
Yeah, 6B. Yeah. But it would broadcast at 2, and then Carson came in later on. But in those days, he and I didn't speak, and we were very competitive and really tough.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't imagine you being that competitive that you wouldn't speak to a fellow performer.
Well, you see, I had a record of doing guest interviews with stars because I had done Parr so many times during the summer. Before Carson took over, I did like 3 or 4 weeks in the summer. And so I knew a lot of them, and they were comfortable. In those days, stars were nervous about trusting their lives to somebody new. Johnny had come out of a game show, and although they kind of knew him, he was new at doing those kind of interviews. Mm-hmm. So I got all the good guest stars, and he wasn't getting them at night.
Uh-oh.
So hate set in. But we're great friends now, and you know his brother's been with me, Dick, for years.
Oh, sure, years and years and years.
Does Wheel of Fortune.
But what about transition from singer to talk show host? You wanted to be on television, and didn't you forego singing for a time?
I did. I sat in an apartment in New York, and then people would call and they'd say, Merv, we have a waterfall in the prop department, and they said, you know some. I said, oh yeah, I know all the waterfall songs, you know. And I was like a utility singer. If they had a palm tree, I could get behind the palm tree and give them a great palm tree song. And then I said, well, there's no future in that, you know.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk, but in those days, singers. Don't ever let a singer talk. They were death at the box office. And so I just sat in my apartment and waited for the phone. Nobody called for a year, you know. Finally got this show on CBS in the morning, early on Sunday morning, called Look Up and Live, and I was the host. And I would read it off the teleprompter. Yes, today we have the Reverend so-and-so from the Protestants, you know.
Oh, it was all religion then?
All religion. And Sidney Poitier was the actor on it. He would act out the Bible, and then they had ballet dancers. They would dance the Bible. And Mahalia Jackson was on a lot.
Okay.
But I would sit there, and one morning I was saying this whole great speech about religion and lives and God, and suddenly the teleprompter went with all my ad libs, you know, and I went, isn't that right, your Reverend? He said, isn't what right? I said, weren't you listening? Live, you know, terrible.
And then then when I next caught up with you, I was working for Group W in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I was a newscaster for KYW-TV. Mike Douglas was doing his show there.
Right.
And you came on from, I believe, New York City for Group W, for Westinghouse.
Right.
And all of a sudden, there you were with Arthur Treacher and with Merriman Smith and Elsa Lancaster and all. You built this wonderful family of people on television on that show. It was wonderful television.
It was excellent. They were all raconteurs. You know, you can't do that anymore. I mean, this is the only television spot in America left now where we can sit down and talk because the attention span is gone. People have those clickers, you know, and
they're surfing.
If you don't accomplish what you're going to do in a minute and a half, they go,
you're gone.
You know, give me another beer, click. And so people can't tell stories anymore. There's no more stories.
Yeah, no more time.
No.
But in the afternoon.
Or if you're telling a story and they run a picture across your face, you know, and horses going.
I was watching one day.
I got out just in time, thank you, God.
Yeah. What did you say? You got out just in time?
Just in time.
Oh, stop it. Don't you miss it every now and again?
No, because I do it. But I do it live now, like at resorts in Atlantic City. I have the hotel and the casino there. So I write, along with these two people, producers, choreographers, everything. Manami and Thomas, we do the shows. We write them, and then all these people come in and act them and dance them, and they play for 1 year, big productions.
Can I ask you a question? The casino business is a good business to be in, isn't it?
It's cute, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was once talking to Trump, not to mention, and I don't mean to bring up anything adversarial here, but Trump
That's not adversarial.
No, this was 10 years
Trump
ago,
who?
and he had just, Trump who? He had just gotten into the casino business, you know, in Atlantic City, maybe 10, 12 years ago. And he talked about what's called the money room. You would know what this is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Counting room.
Yeah, and he said that they had to have forklift trucks to lift the pallets of change and of money and to stack them. And that the biggest problem that they had in the counting room, coins were no problem because machines would count those and sort them. But paper money, they had no machinery to sort the paper
And they
money.
wear gloves, and I'm not allowed in there, even though I own the place.
Really?
I'm not allowed in there unless I applied for a pass to the Gaming Commission to go in. I can go in the security room and watch them because their hands and they are on camera at all times. But I couldn't go into that room.
Why is that?
Because
Against
you're
the
just
Gaming
not allowed
Commission?
to.
Oh, okay. But they have to sort all the paper money by hand.
When resorts opened, we were the only one on the boardwalk, and people stood in line. They paid to get in, and gaming is much different in Atlantic City than it is in Las Vegas. In other words, with 12 hotels, casinos, we do the same amount of revenues that 120 or whatever they are in Las Vegas do. That's how big gaming
Well, but then
is.
look at the population reach that you have in
53
Atlantic City.
million
Of course,
people
all
can
the
drive
biggest,
there
yeah,
and
the biggest
do.
cities in America are a drive away from Atlantic City.
Right. So it's a different kind of business. When it opened, they didn't have time to count the money, so they kept plugging it into barrels. And suddenly the Gaming Commission walked in, and there were literally hundreds of barrels filled with money. And they said, you have to count this. If you don't count this, we're going to shut you down. Because they want their piece, you know.
Of course,
the state wants
yeah.
their, and that's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
So they had to bring in bank tellers, off hours, and they counted and counted while it was all going on upstairs.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
I mean, think of
I
how
can believe it.
But I mean, going back to when you were on the religion show,
Yeah.
what did you get, $119 a show?
And I used to talk about don't gamble. Hey, but you'll laugh because, you see, the Protestants had that show for 6 months, and the Catholics had 6 months, and then Jews would come in, they'd had 6 months. Okay. I, by accident, was the host for I guess it wasn't 6 months, it was shorter than
3 months, a quarter, yeah.
I, by accident, was the host of the Protestants. So when the Catholics came in, the producer wanted to keep me on. He said, oh, Father, he said, or Monsignor, this is terrific. Merv is a Catholic. And he said, he better say his prayers. I didn't get the Catholic part. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, but let me take you back to the counting room for a second.
Oh, you're hung up.
No. I remember when gambling was going in Atlantic City, and you had to apply to the Gaming Commission to get a license. And you had to demonstrate that you had the financial wherewithal to support a casino. So a bunch of us sent a proposal in, and they said, we said, if you'll just give it to us for a year, we will have the financial wherewithal.
I did the same thing and got it. No, I'd had sold Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, so in those days I had a couple of bucks. And so I was all right going in there.
Yeah.
And then Trump sold me, that's the most confusing story in the world, but we were at loggerheads and we knocked each other around.
All's well that ends well. Like you and Johnny, you're great friends
That's
now.
right.
Yep.
That's right. Well, I don't hang out with Trump. In fact, I haven't seen him since the deal. Since we both turned and went at the same time, you know.
With Merv and all of you on the toll-free exchange at 800-952-2788. We'll be right back after these messages.
Call in, Don.
How did you link up with Arthur Treacher?
On the Jack Barr show. He came on, and he was a guest on the show, and he was the first guest out, and we started talking, and we could not stop talking. It was just chemistry like that. This older man and this younger man, and he looked very
Dignified. Man.
dignified, but with great disdain down his nose. And you know, on the show, he would do strange things. He would actually get mad at me and move down the couch and wouldn't speak to me for days. And he would say on the air, "You wretched little man," and he'd move, and I go, you know, you're afraid of losing the audience like that. But he would do that. One time he turned me in the union for not paying him quickly enough. But I love that guy. I mean, he was just
It
great.
showed too, pal. It showed that you loved this guy. He was your sidekick, your announcer.
Boy, was he
and remember, he'd say,
from a little theater off Times Square, it's the Merv Griffin show. And everybody said, Merv, don't do it. He'll be a one-night joke. The English accent, you know, won't make it. And then David Frost proved it. But, who keeps leaning into my microphone? Look at Tom like that one. I got Tom.
Did he ever? Talk
Yeah,
about-
how come all these ex-presidents and people never hire American interviewers to interview? They always bring over an Englishman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. By the way, do you think you and I could go over and work on the BBC? No,
Never.
can't. No, no, no.
Never.
And then, you know, High and Mighty comes over and,
Yeah.
chat time
Yeah,
on
no,
the BBC.
Nixon all-
Please.
all-
Here is Sharon in Lorain, Ohio. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Good evening, Sharon.
First off, I want to say I just love your show,
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
and I never did think I'd ever get through. I've tried 5 million times, and it's always busy.
Well, you got here on a good night because Merv's here.
I couldn't be happier. He's one of my favorite people.
Thank you. How nice.
I just,
You remember me.
oh my God, how could I forget you?
Some
Oh.
enchanted evening.
Oh, I'll tell you, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you're Mr. TV.
Mr. TV.
You better
I thought
believe
she
it.
said Mr. TNA. TV. Thank you. Well, it's been a number of years, though.
Oh,
You know, it's 10 years. No, it will be 10 years next year.
Tell me about it. I don't know why you're not on TV more often. We'd love to see you.
Thank you, ma'am. And you know, I do a show on New Year's Eve. And I go to resorts, and we do it on the 4th of July weekend. Every year, it's become a tradition there. And they mob the place, and they dance, and I lead this big band, 30 pieces.
But is it not? It's not on television.
Not on 4th of July, but then we do it on New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's on
It's
television.
a long way to wait after you do rehearse in July and do the show.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. You know, if you
There's a
could have
few
gotten this
little
funny
flubs
stuff
in
on the
there.
show, you'd still be on. You know.
But the people all mob it and they dance, and I lead the band.
yeah.
And this year we're going to have Phyllis McGuire or McGuire sisters and Pia Isadora.
Uh-huh.
And everybody dances while they're singing.
Sharon,
wonderful.
In
Sharon,
fact, they dance when I talk, Sharon.
Sharon, I'm glad you called.
Listen, I wondered, how did you meet Vanna, and how did you choose her to be on the Wheel of Fortune?
Well, you know something? She was a face on my desk. In other words, I had said to the producer, Nancy Jones, I said, Nancy, narrow it down to like 12 girls and get just some 8x10 glossy pictures. And she did, and I said, I'll come walk right in the room, and I'll point to whoever I think it knocks me for a loop. And I walked right in, and I went, boom, because the camera loves Vanna's face, loves her. And she,
But now, wasn't
she's
there-
exactly what you see on television is exactly what you get when you're with her.
That's correct.
She's darling.
Yeah,
She's
she
a
is.
dear, sweet, wonderful girl.
Yeah, and every time somebody says something at the dinner table, she goes,
That's right. Yeah. She's in the Guinness Book of Records. Most claps ever
yeah,
on
claps, yeah.
on
Yeah, let's
television.
not, yeah,
Right.
plural. Yeah.
Right.
Good.
And when I hired her, she went and told the press. She said, Merv hired me. I knew the whole alphabet. Do you, Tom?
Only letters I know are CBS, kid.
Whoa.
Sharon, I'm glad you called. Thanks.
I'm glad I called, too, and lots of luck to both of you.
Thank
And
you,
we-
Sharon.
All right.
We love both of you.
Merv doesn't need it, but I take the good wishes. Thank
Well,
you.
honey, you both deserve them.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye now.
Bu-
Bye-bye.
Do you ever gamble?
Yes, sir, I have.
You know, I have riverboats. I could accommodate any form that you like. Riverboats?
I'll tell you very quickly, the first time I went to Vegas, I went with people from NBC when I came out here to do the news.
Yeah.
And I went to a casino in Las Vegas, and on a Saturday night at the crap table, I won $5,200. And I called my agent, and I said, tell NBC I will not be coming in Monday. I said, there's no sense me going in there for a year to make $55,000 when I can make $5 grand a night here in Vegas.
Is that
He says,
unbelievable?
well, he says, if you change your mind, call me. He says, otherwise I'll call him first thing Monday. I said, fine. I went back the next day, Merv. That and more went back. Yeah, so I learned either gamble or work, but don't try to combine the two. You don't play in your own, you're not allowed to play in your
Not
own.
allowed to.
Not allowed to. Tell you, when you own the place, they sure hold you down, don't
Boy, am I saving money.
they? Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Marie in Braintree, Massachusetts. Hello.
Wow.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Here's Merv.
Braintree.
Braintree.
Yes. Merv, I was just wondering what kind of a childhood you had. Did you come from a wealthy family, or did you just do all this smart business on your own?
Well, actually, wrong side of the tracks. My father was a tennis pro. He was champion of California. He was a Pacific Coast champion. And his brother was United States champion. All the boys, there were 5 boys. They all had all the championships in the 1917, 18, 19, 20, in the early part of my life. He was a tennis pro. Wasn't a lot of money, but we lived on the wrong side of the tracks. It was great.
And where was this?
Very
Out here in
close.
California?
San Mateo,
Okay.
California. El Dorado Street. And not too long ago, they had a big raffle in town, or what they call those things where they bid on things, you know, auction yeah, for a charity. And the lady at the house we used to live in came over and donated the toilet seat.
Really?
And they auctioned my toilet seat. I don't know what it brought, but you know, that was thrilling. I even left some pencils at Jake.
You know, God, just in time, yeah.
But no, it was very nice. My father then went into the stock market some years later, but I never took any business. I was terrible in school, so I never took any business courses. But I knew what I liked, you know, and I was quietly investing money as it came in my career. I started in radio, so I wanted to own radio stations.
Bought radio stations
Yeah.
and did very well in radio stations when many people lost money in radio stations.
But you didn't advertise it, you know. I always tell a story that I'm a great pal of Gleason's, and I used to hang out with him, and I had great fun. I loved that guy. And we used to walk down the street, you know, at the peak of his career, and I was just this singer coming along. All the cab drivers, hey, yeah, Jackie, and truck drivers, hey, yeah, Jackie, and hey, pal, how are you, pal, you know. And then came that story when he signed with CBS, and he signed with Chrysler, and it came out in the headline, Jackie signs biggest deal, $12 million. Nobody ever yelled at him again. You don't yell at a rich man.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you hear me? Oh, Tom.
We'll be back with Merv Griffin and more as time permits at 800-952-2788. I'm TS. This is the Tuesday night simulcast, and we'll be right back after this for our sponsors and the CBS television stations all across America.
This is unbelievable.
I know. We're talking about being on the computer at night on all these
America Online.
Yeah.
And I'm probably talking to you, and you're talking to me.
Yeah.
And didn't know it all this time.
You know,
I'm in there all the time.
Well, I was in last night because I was trying to find my biography in the internet, and I didn't know how to do it. So I got a hold of a friend of mine who's facile at this sort of thing, and I got a hold of her through the message service on America Online. And she's typing back and forth to me how to get in this thing, and I was there till 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure it out.
Looking at pictures of Elaine.
Oh, stop it, please.
I know all that stuff that goes on there.
I went in there to
People actually have, how can I be delicate about this? Sex.
Yeah.
They, while you're in the chat, and they're
typing.
Yeah.
They're typing.
That's all they're doing is typing,
yeah,
and you think,
yeah.
how exciting can that be?
They're misspelling sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A steno pool.
Donna in Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania. Hi.
Hi. Hi, Tom. Hi, Merv.
Hi.
Nice to see you both back on TV.
Thank you.
Have you been off?
Oh, have I ever?
I saw you on CNN.
No. She just. Thanks, Donna. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Donna.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, all
you didn't
right.
call collect, did you?
I wanted to ask Merv, out of all the people he had on the show and all the people he discovered, who was he most surprised at that became a star?
Woody Allen.
Really?
Yeah. He was a writer. He'd been on One Night with Parr, and he did his act. He didn't come to the panel. And Parr said, this is disgusting. And on camera said, I want to know the name of the booker who's responsible for putting him on the show. Because, you know, Woody was a little on the edge in those days.
Oh, yeah.
But at home, I was falling off my chair. I never laughed so hard in all my life.
Parr says,
so then when I got the show, they said, who do you want? And I said, get me this writer, Woody Allen. He's the funniest thing I ever saw. And I had a deal with him, signed a contract. He appeared with me every Friday.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Oh, God, I thought he was wonderful.
I'm glad you called, Donna. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
You had a great, you had the last interview with Orson Welles.
Yeah.
The very last
I didn't
one.
know it was going to be his
I know.
last. But, you know, he always had a rule, no notes. There were no notes, no pre-interviews. I don't, and his dictum was, I do not want to take any trips down memory lane. No trips, do not discuss the past. Well, you know, there was Rita Hayworth and Marlena Dietrich, you want to ask, and the Hearst and throwing him off the, you know, out of the country and
for Citizen Kane, sure, yeah.
And there was everything he wanted to ask him.
No, not
So we'd talk about, you know, and he'd do his illusions and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there he is. Wow. And one night he was waiting at my dressing room door because we never saw each other before the show. And I came down and he said, I feel very expansive tonight, you know. And I said, yeah. And he said, ask me anything you want. I'll talk about anything. And I said, no, He said, yep. He said, ask me all that tabloid gossip stuff you want about Rita and Marla. And I said, Orson, you gotta be kidding. And Hearst, ask. And we went on, I asked him everything, and it was fascinating. And he went home and died 2 hours later.
Oh, my dear.
Yeah.
You know, I was with the director, William Friedkin, Billy Friedkin.
Oh, yeah,
huh?
Billy Friedkin.
He carries around in his wallet the AP initial obit on Orson Welles that went over the wires moments after Mr. Welles passed away.
Yeah.
So they go through all the things he did, Citizen Kane, Othello, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end, there was a misstrike on the teleprinter, and they meant to say that Orson Welles was 70 years old when he died, but it said Orson Welles was 70 years odd when he died. Now think about Orson Welles, huh? That's yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
He was extraordinary.
Oh, no question, no
Just
question.
extraordinary. I went, one day, he would invite me for lunch all the time. And I went with him one time. He was a great friend of Patrick Charai.
Oh, the Maison restaurant on Melrose.
So he would sit inside, not out.
That's correct.
And we'd over in a little corner, and he'd
At
order.
the top of the steps there, before you went inside. Yeah.
So I'd eat with him, and he would order a little piece of fish, and a little thing here, and a little that.
Yeah.
And I'd look at him and think, well, God, he must be swollen, Or, how can? Because man, I sit down, I eat, food.
Yeah.
And so we left approximately the same time, and I stopped to talk to somebody. He took off. He had a limousine.
Yeah.
We'd go down the street like that. And I happened to be going in the same direction and took the same turns. I was broadcasting at that time from Hollywood and Vine, or Sunset and Vine. And so we just by accident followed him, the driver.
Yeah.
He stopped at Pink's.
Pink's, the hot dog joint. Yeah.
And
probably had 15.
I said, wait a minute, 22.
22.
I counted them. Hot dogs.
Went on the grape diet one year. Ate a vineyard.
Is Merv out of here? He's afraid I would tell that, you see, on television. So he's a real sneaky hot dog eater.
Let me ask you here about Wheel and Jeopardy.
Yeah.
These are the simplest games in the world.
Well, you said it in your Emmy magazine interview. It came out today. I read it. You said this is the television show. Keep it simple.
Simple, right. I mean, the great games on television over the years have been simple games. Tic-tac-toe.
Explain it in one sentence.
21,
Yeah.
don't go over.
No.
Wheel of Fortune is Hangman, Jeopardy's. Were these, from the get-go, runaway bestsellers?
Oh, no. Daytime, Wheel was on 16 years before it went nighttime. And then it went nighttime. It's now in its 13th year, and it's never been anything but #1.
I know.
In syndication. And Jeopardy followed a year later, and that's been #2, and has since the get-go.
Do you still make up the little things?
The puzzles on Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. Ride them by on long plane trips, because I'm in the air all the time, flying from one state to another. And I write them all down, and come back.
Unbelievable.
Then they send me a plot sheet, and I look at it, and I'll cross out what I think is easy and write in all these. I get all the mixed up
What would be
words.
great is if you would like when Sajak goes on vacation, does he ever get a time off?
Oh, yeah, but I might ruin the demographics.
Oh, come on.
No, when you're 50 years old, man, you're supposed to sell your television set and get out of America. You can't hang around.
Hey, I'm proving I'm wrong nightly here, kids. It'd just be great one week at Merv come on Wheel of Fortune and give away all these.
I've been on it, but not as
I understand.
But walk on.
I hope you'll come back sometime. There's a lot of your
will.
stuff that we
I
have.
have nothing to do tomorrow night.
Well, I do.
Oh, you do? not very nice, Doc. Cute, but not nice.
Yeah, I know, but it's a little payback for the haircut.
I'm not blonde? Oh. That was great fun. And I've watched you so many times, and I love your style. And you're all that's left.
Yeah, anyway, I do come back.
No man is an island, but you're there.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, you're the history of this whole business, kid. And,
geez, don't say that.
Oh, no, you are, yeah. And that's good,
God.
by the way. That's very, very
That's
good.
all right.
I was interviewing one time this guy, King Vidor, huh?
Yeah. Ooh, major.
The whole history of movie was with him and Hal Roach, and they were both alive in my time, you see?
Wow.
Thank you, Merv.
Yeah. And if you get a lot of money for this show, you come to one of my places.
Oh, no, kid.
I'll help you double it.
No, I don't. I don't want to. I'm happy where I am.
Yeah.
Pat O'Brien from CBS Sports is next after these messages from our sponsors. Thank you.